The Southampton Tragedy. The following letters from a friend in Southampton present several new facts and views of the late insurrection, and are worthy of all reliance. The writer has had the best opportunities of scanning the scenes themselves, as well as the evidence given on the trials of the banditti. Jerusalem, September 21st, 1831. Your letter of the 13th was received a few days ago, on my return from Greensville Superior Court. There has been very little variation in the evidence submitted to the court in the course of the trials for the late insurrection, and with the exception of one witness, a woman belonging to Mr. Solomon Parker, there has been nothing elicited that goes to prove a concert beyond the day before the insurrection broke out. She states, however, that she has heard the subject discoursed about among her master's slaves and some of the neighboring ones for the last 18 months, and that a meeting held at the Raccoon Meeting House in May and August last, some 8 or 10 expressed their determination to unite in the scheme. Several were tried 6 or 8 days ago in this county, upon her unsupported testimony, and were all acquitted, whilst in Sussex 5 or 6 were acquitted upon the same testimony. She is again to be introduced here, on the trial of 3 or 4 others, and may, perhaps, obtain more credit with the court. She is about 16 or 17 years of age, and said to be of very good character. It has been considered that under our Act of Assembly, the testimony of a slave or free negro, unless supported by pregnant circumstances, is insufficient to convict in any case. You will thus perceive that we have, as yet, had no sufficient reason to believe that there was a concert or general plan among the blacks. I have no doubt, however, that the subject has been pretty generally discussed among them, and the minds of many prepared to cooperate in the design. How far the exemplary chastisement inflicted upon them may tend to disconcert and suppress their insurrectionary prospects, it is time to resolve. There is one idea gone abroad, in relation to the occurrences here, which I think deserves correction, since it is calculated to produce an impression that the people of this county, unaided, would not have been able to put down the insurrection. No one is more sensible to the obligations due to our fellow citizens of other counties for their decided, prompt, and ready assistance than myself. Yet it is due to truth, as well as the just confidence which the people of every county ought to feel in themselves, to state that the insurrection was effectually and completely suppressed by the citizens of the county. That, as early as Tuesday morning at daybreak, and after the repulse from Dr. Blunt's house, they were utterly scattered and dispersed, and that no attempt was afterwards made to reunite or to pursue their design. That, in fact, so far from a military force being required for the protection of the county, the citizens in greater or less numbers, sometimes 2 or 3 together only, were riding all through the county on Tuesday, and that all those slaves who were either slain or captured met with their fate from the local militia or citizens of the county. To return to the subject of your inquiries, I am led to believe, from all that I can learn, that Nat Turner has been revolving this plan of mischief and disruption, and a mind capacious of such things, for years. Pretending to be divinely inspired, more than 4 years ago he announced to the blacks that he should baptize himself on a particular day, and that whilst in the water a dove would be seen to descend from heaven and perch on his head, thus endeavoring to collect a great crowd, perhaps with a similar design to that afterwards effected. This assemblage was prevented, but he, in company with a white man, did actually baptize himself. From that day until the awful tragedy of the 22nd, he has used every means in his power to acquire an ascendancy over the minds of the slaves. A dreamer of dreams, and a would-be prophet, who used all the arts familiar to such pretenders, to deceive, delude, and overawe their minds. Whether these arts were practiced only in his own immediate neighborhood, or, as some say, were extended to a distance, I have not been able to ascertain with any certainty. Some allege that he had never left the vicinity of his master's dwelling, whilst others think that he had even visited the metropolis of the state in his character of preacher and prophet. 23 of the insurgents have been condemned, 13 executed, 8 commuted, and 2, a woman and a man, to be executed on Monday next. 8 or 10 yet remain for trial, and 3 free negroes have been remanded to the Superior Court for trial, Many of the accused have been discharged, how many I cannot say. As to the best plan of defense against a similar attempt in the future, this is a subject of great interest, and, as it strikes me, of great difficulty. I observe a writer in your paper has proposed a regular standing force in each county of the state where this population exists, to be well paid, etc. It appears to me that this is not to be thought of. A force of 3,000, and a less number would not answer the purpose, would cost the state more than $600,000 per annum. It would be difficult to officer such a corps in a proper manner, or to fill the ranks with other than worthless characters. They would soon relax in discipline and inactivity, and in the process of time become a nuisance to the state. Placing this project out of view, I am of opinion that security is to be found only in the rigid enforcement of the laws, regulating this class of our population, united with humane and just treatment in the owners, and a determination to keep their slaves at home, in the observance of regular patrols, composed of men of character and discretion, in the formation of volunteer corps who might frequently traverse every party, and produce an impression by the exhibition of military force always prepared for prompt action. P.S. A volunteer company has been raised here, composed of the most intelligent and respectable gentlemen. Friend of the Editor, The Southampton Tragedy, The Richmond Enquirer, 27th September, 1831, written in Southampton, Virginia.